We're good. Ani, bonsoir, good evening, and welcome to our regular council meeting for September 21st, 2022. I'd like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples in the Robinson-Huron Treaty. Ani, bonsoir, good evening, and welcome to. Okay. It's good? Okay, so I'll redo that again. I would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples in the Robinson-Huron Treaty area and wish to recognize the neighboring community of Dokis First Nation. While we meet today, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and our responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their culture. From coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. So with that, I need someone to adopt the agenda. Rennie and Dave. All those in favor? Thank you. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest tonight? Seeing none. There are no delegations tonight, and it's going to be a very short meeting because there's really only one item on the agenda, and that's the Federal Electoral District Redistribution 2022. And there's a resolution before you from SEMA with regards to the redistribution. And because we do have guests here tonight, I'll just make an explanation what's happening. The Electoral Commission, Boundaries Commission of Canada looks at the boundaries for electoral wards or areas every 10 years. And this is the 10th year. In their wisdom, they've decided that in Northern Ontario, that they would redistribute the number of MPs at the federal level that we would have. We would go down from 3 to 2. And their reasoning behind it is because they use a proportionate calculation of population. And our extra MP, that position would go down to Southern Ontario. So, of course, we have been up in arms about it because the territory that we live in is quite vast and it's quite different. The SEMA, which is the Sudbury East Municipal Association, and that represents French River, St. Charles, Killarney, Marks Day Warren, and Nipissing. And the association got together to discuss the issue. And what's happening now, right now, the Sudbury East is all together under one MP, which is currently Max Seri. What they're proposing on doing is sending Marks Day Warren and West Nipissing to North Bay. And so, St. Charles isn't. Oh yeah, St. Charles, you're right. It's Killarney and us that will only be left with, it will be called Sudbury East Manitoulin. So we'll be bunched in with Mount Manitoulin and all the small towns around that area. And that creates a problem because Sudbury East, we worked well together amongst each other. Sometimes we have been forced by the provincial government. For instance, our planning board is legislated and it's Sudbury East. So the four municipalities are together. SEMA, we're together. We have shared services together. And now if we're going to try to apply for funds or try to lobby our MPs, we have to double up on it because now it's going to be a waste of time for us. And for the MPs, it's doubling. 2 MPs are going to hear the same story type of a thing and the same demands. As well, which is even more importantly, right now, Sudbury East, the way that we have our population, there's a high component of francophones. And by dividing West Nipissing, St. Charles, and Marks Day Warren, a large portion of our francophone community is going to North Bay, which is mainly Anglophone. And that creates problems with continuing, the culture, the language. And with us going with Sudbury, Manitoulin, again, there's a disproportionate amount of francophones. So the commission didn't look at that. The other thing too that the commission did not look at was the vast territory. You can't compare Southern Ontario with Northern Ontario. We live far apart, and even Nickel Belt is such a vast area that to make it even wider is disproportionate. And so there's a lot of brouhaha. Temiskaming, there's also some problems there because they've been reorganizing that area to go with different communities. So 10 years ago, it's also good to note that 10 years ago, we used to have we used to have 4 in the area in northeastern Ontario or in northern Ontario, which continues up to the west, and we were reduced to 3, and now we're being reduced to 2. So there's an unfairness in it, and so the Sudbury East Municipal Association put together a resolution, and it'll be read by Melanie in a minute or so, to object to it and what our reasons are for objecting to it. The other thing too is the commission is holding public consultations, but for us in Northern Ontario, if you want to make an appearance in public physically, you have to go to Timmins. There's no public consultation whatsoever in Sudbury. So we're asking the commissioners to think about that and to have a public not viewing, but a meeting in Sudbury, so that we, as the representatives of Sudbury East, can make an appearance. There is a Zoom meeting at the end of October or the end of November. I think it's the end of November, where all of Northern Ontario, so from Parry Sound up, can attend and voice their objections through this public meeting through Zoom. But if you're putting everybody together like that, how much time are you going to have to really get through to the people that are the decision makers? We also checked, the 3 commissioners come from Southern Ontario, and so they haven't really lived the North. And unless you live here, it's hard to understand that our challenges are different, even though many of them are the same, but it is different up north. So with that, also we've asked each municipality to pass their own resolution, which is coming before us tonight, so that we can submit this to the commissioner. So SEMA will be submitting its resolution, French River, Killarney, et cetera, will be submitting their own resolution based on the information that SEMA has provided. And tonight, I believe St. Charles is doing the same thing as we're doing tonight. The hopes, I don't know if we're going to be successful, but hopefully we can stop, we can retain that extra MP. If nothing else, put back Nickel Belt the way it was and redistribute it another way so that we can retain the good work that the municipalities are doing together, which, by the way, was kind of forced on by the province. So it's like the federal province. So there's not really that much discussion about how it affects the work that we do on a daily basis. So that's pretty well it. Mark, I know you were at the meeting, Renee, you were at the meeting too. Anything else to add?
No, I think you pretty much summed it up.
We've been working closely with Max Setti and his team But though, you know, he has to take a sort of a couple feet separation from the municipalities, because then it looks like it's self-serving. But he's been able to guide us on getting some of the statistics that we needed to have in order to put the resolution together. So tonight, which is basically the reason we're doing it, is to pass this resolution.
And I know that on Monday night,
Yes.
Economic Partners, Sabrice West Nipissing, we passed our motion too, and Neil was working on the letter to be sent to Mark Sari's office. So,
Excellent.
and I haven't heard back from Jason, so I don't know
Okay,
what.
from the chamber.
Yeah, from the chamber. So,
Okay, so maybe Neil should send it to, not only to Mark, but it has to go to the commission because it has to be in by the 25th.
yeah, I
Okay.
believe Neil spoke directly with Mark Sari
Oh, he did.
also.
Okay. Okay,
So,
so he's got all the
yeah,
coordinates.
he does.
Okay, good, good. Any questions from our viewing counselors?
Nope, I read it all, and so I know what you're talking about. It's Dean here.
Same, I've read it. It's all good.
All right. So I need a mover and a seconder to
Here.
adopt. Oh, sorry. Somebody
I'll
says.
move.
Oh,
No, I'll
sorry.
move.
Randy and Dean. Ready.
It is duly moved and seconded, whereas the proposed Federal Electoral Boundary Commission has proposed to remove one of the electoral ridings from Northern Ontario. And whereas the proposed riding of Manitoulin and Nickel Belt would remove the municipalities of St. Charles, just gonna put them on mute, okay? Would remove the municipalities of St. Charles, Marks-Day Warren, and West Nipissing from the current Nickel Belt riding. And whereas the municipalities of French River, Killarney, St. Charles, Marks-Day Warren, and West Nipissing work together under the umbrella of the Sudbury East Municipal Association, SEMA, for the betterment of each municipality. Currently, SEMA is comprised of one geopolitical entity, and any changes would fragment, diminish, and reduce access to federal representation for area residents. And whereas the commission is not taking into consideration the uniqueness of the said municipalities in Sudbury East, including the difficulty in competing for limited amounts of funding. Any changes to the current configuration would exacerbate the situation. And whereas the commission did not take into consideration that the current Sudbury East boundaries include a substantial portion of Francophone citizens. By removing St. Charles, Marks-Day Warren, and West Nipissing from Nickel Belt would make it extremely difficult to advocate for a Francophone population and would be detrimental for those municipalities being forced into mostly Anglophone ridings. And whereas the proposal to diminish Northern Ontario's voice in Parliament will have detrimental effect on participatory democracy and regional development, as issues in Northern Ontario are significantly different than those in Southern Ontario. And whereas the Electoral Commission did not take into consideration that the courts have rules that representation in Canada's democracy is not based merely on population, but on regions of interest and the right of citizens to engage with their elected representative. And whereas any changes to electoral boundaries should be based on the principles of maintaining communities of interest within the boundaries that are equitable in terms of culture, language, and geography. And whereas SEMA has a history of working collaboratively on projects and issues in our current writing, it will be inefficient to separate the work between two members of Parliament and cause a duplication work for members of SEMA. And whereas the Federal Electoral Boundaries Commission is seeking public input on its proposed writing boundary changes, yet has scheduled only one in-person consultation in Northern Ontario to be held in Timmins. Therefore, be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of French River hereby calls on the Electoral Boundary Commission to not reduce the numbers of MPs for Northern Ontario, and it respects the current geographical boundaries for those in Nickel Belt. And further, that the commission follow its rules and consider our community interest and identity and the historical pattern of our electoral district in the province when determining reasonable electoral district boundaries for our community. And further that the commission add an in-person consultation meeting to be held in Sudbury in order for all those residents in Nickel Belt to have an opportunity to meet in person with the commission.
Want to repeat that?
No.
Okay, all right. So Mel, before we send it out tomorrow, we'll change that. Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion on it? Yep, just before I close the vote, okay. Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you very much. So that will be, that little corrections will be made and that will be sent to the commission and to Mark Setty's office tomorrow. Thank you. The rest of the agenda, there is nothing except until we get into the consent agenda. So I need a resolution to adopt the items contained in the consent agenda. Bob and Dave. All those in favor? Thank you. All right. There are no notices of motions tonight. Announcement and inquiries. I'll start with our viewing people in Zoom land. Randy?
Hi, thanks. Just a real quick message to everybody. I think that winter's upon us here. It's coming to be that time of year and thinking about getting the outdoor rink ready to go for the year. So I think we're going to end up having to do some painting this year for sure. So I'm going to try and put something together in early October with some volunteers. We need paint and we need volunteers, of course, but I think it's time to put a fresh coat of paint on that so that it's ready for the year. Also would love a discussion about a secondary light source out there. It's very dangerous at night. I know Mark and I have had numerous conversations about this, but it hasn't moved anywhere. So it's something that does need to be looked after from a public safety standpoint, I believe. But hopefully people can reach out to me and we can get together and do some work on the outdoor rink in Alvin for the upcoming season. Other than that, nothing else to report.
Thank you. Randy, are you going to put out a call on Facebook to see if you can gather some volunteers?
I am, yes.
Okay, good. All right, Rick,
I'm good, thanks.
you're good. All right, have a good trip to Greece.
Thank you.
We'll see you after your trip.
Mhm.
Mr. Dean. It would be better if you were unmuted.
It's amazing. It gets muted all by itself. Anyway, I read all of the information on that. I found this whole process kind of interesting. I guess the part that I find interesting is that I couldn't find in their record there a single one of the ridings in Northern Ontario that even approaches the 116,000 population count, with the exception of Sudbury. So I don't know why, whether, I don't think they're improving that very much by trying this. When they made proposing to make all of the North Country into one riding, that's not reaching 116,000 either.
Mm-hmm.
Just wonder what the thinking is here, how they're trying to, what they're going to improve.
I have no idea, to be quite honest with you, because I can't figure out their way of thinking. I mean, think about this. Prince Edward Island is guaranteed 3 MPs, and it's smaller than Nickel Belt. So put that into perspective. So
That's history, though. That
yes,
was done
that's
when
historical. That was done through the Constitution.
Yeah.
Yeah, not sure.
I don't really have anything else to add.
All righty. I'll go to Bob.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just 2 short things. Last meeting, I talked about the cemetery here.
Yes.
I did have a chance to visit the cemetery in Alvin. It is well groomed. It looks great. There's no work to be done there on the monuments. It none in disrepair that I've seen. So I just said I'd visit it and I
Good.
did. And probably before our last meeting, I had a chance with our CAO, Mark. He brought me over to the municipal garage to view our renovations there, the new lunchroom and all the work and dollars we spent in there. And it looks great. The employees seem very happy.
Good.
And thank you for that, Mark. And that's it. Merci.
Dave.
I have nothing to report.
Renee?
Just, they had their fish fry 2 weekends ago at, oh my God,
Rods and
the
Guns?
Rod and Gun. And they did really good. They had a really good turnout, so they were very pleased. And I know they were thankful for everybody who went out there. They said they had about 50 people more than what they served in the spring. So that was really good for them. So
Mhm.
so it was nice to see. Also, the Rapids are playing this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So, and I believe Thursday night they're in Sudbury, so go out and cheer them out if you want. And that's about it. Besides that, not too much.
Great, thank you. Aside from the Rapids playing this weekend, also tomorrow here at 1:30, there'll be a celebration with the two Francophone high school to celebrate the Franco-Ontarian flag. So the kids will all be coming here. So we'll have, what, a couple hundred, 200? Yeah, so we'll be serving cake. So we'll sugar them up and send them home. And then we'll do a presentation. I'll do a little presentation and then the kids are going to sing the flag song and there'll be some others. So you're more than invited to attend. And what's that? Oh, Reconciliation Day on September 30th. There's an environmental committee, Bob, on the 28th, and it's open to the public. I encourage people from the public to attend. And I think that's it. Food bank will be open in 2 weeks. And I think that's all I have as well. Yeah, the debates in other municipalities are starting. I have no idea if there's going to be a debate here. Chamber, no?
No, they didn't do one for our area,
Yeah.
but I know that St. Charles, Marks Day Warren, and Killarney do have their debate nights, and it is on the Sudbury East Chamber of Commerce webpage. If you want the date and times, if anybody wants to attend. Oh, I believe Randy wants to say something.
Okay.
On that note, I was going to chime in and said I'll be participating in a electoral debate in Capriel Monday evening at the Legion. So if anybody wishes to come out and see Ward 7 and Sudbury debate, I'll be there.
Is it going to be a lot video cast?
Televised? I'm not certain that this one will be because it's the Community Action Network for Capriel putting it on. So it's a local group. There'll be two additional. The chamber will put one on where all the
Okay.
candidates will do Sudbury's, as well as the age appropriate or age seniors friendly meeting usually does one as well. So I'll be participating in 3 debates this year.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, good luck.
Yeah. All right. There was one more thing. Somebody said something and it clicked and I lost it. Oh, well, if it comes back, it'll come back. Mark, Mel, did you have anything? And this is the time we open it up to the public. So if you have anything you'd like to share with us, you will need to go to the microphone though, so that our counselors can hear you. You don't have to. All right. Thank you.
Yes, she should.
You behave yourself over there.
Well, come on now.
Randy? All right, there is no closed session. And I need a resolution to adopt the confirmation bylaw moved by Randy and Rick. All those in favor? Thank you. And I need a resolution to adjourn. Moved by Bob and Renee. Have a good week, everybody, and a good month, and we'll see you at the next meeting. All those in favor?
Thank you.